Hello everyone and welcome to another Scots We Hate podcast, and today it's all about the Dumfries and Galloway Arts Festival, which in good news is back. So I'm delighted to be joined by Creative Director of the festival, Melanie Purdie. Hello Melanie.
Hello.
And also Neil Gore from Townsend Theatre Productions, who are involved in the festival with Talking Horse, which he'll explain more about in a moment. But hello Neil.
Hello.
So, Melanie, can you start by giving us an overview of the festival?
Of course. So this year's festival is really kind of looking at a reflection from all of the work that we've done in lockdown, particularly since last year we had to cancel the festival due to COVID. Since then, we've really had to look at how we deliver work in the future and obviously adapt and thrive within that. And one thing that's really come out as a really positive thing of COVID and during lockdown is through our commissions offer, where we actually commissioned a number of young people as well as local artists to make new work, either in their, from working in their bedrooms to going outside and exploring spaces and places across the region. So historically, we'd always kind of with the festival really look to bring in work on a national scale to the region in order to influence local artists. But really this year we're looking through what local artists can do and achieve and bring, and really providing them with a platform, and particularly over digital, a national platform to be able to say, this is who we are, this is what we can offer, and this is what we can present. So for this year's festival, we've really kind of focused on Dumfries and Galloway as a region in terms of its sense of place, sense of geography, sense of the work that's coming from there, and the vibrant scene and artists that are coming from the region, by kind of having a bit of a hybrid of digital as well as outdoor performances that people can also choose to watch either outdoors or in the comfort of their own homes, just allowing for people to be able to react to what they feel most comfortable to do, given the fact we're sort of coming out of COVID and wanting to engage in culture, but also kind of having the choice to do that. So this year's festival is really exciting for us because it's meaning that we can really really hone in on what the work is from the region. Yeah. So that's where the theme Hame'll Dae Me came from, of, we don't need to travel out of the region because we have everything that we want and need here already. And we're really making a stamp on that to be able to show the rest of the, anyone internationally and nationally through digital, what we can do and what we can achieve. So it's a really exciting year for us to be able to champion local work and to be able to move forward on that in a very celebratory way.
That's really interesting, that kind of idea of almost flipping the focus from having people coming to actually saying, no, we've got the talent right here. And is that something, as you say, that you decided was not a reaction to COVID, but was decided was the 2020 festival going to be very different, put it that way? Was it going to be following what had happened previously? And was this change one that you felt was a reaction to the last year?
Sort of a mixture of both. So last year's festival included bringing a lot of sort of theatre works to the region from national companies. We have, large outdoor spectacles happening, but actually, I think really given the fact that we've really connected with a lot of local artists through lockdown, through the commissions digitally, it then allowed us to go, well, who's making work still in an outdoor way, a really interesting way, to be able to kind of naturally make those decisions to say, okay, this is what's right at this current time for us to feel safe to be able to give that platform, and particularly to support local artists and to sustain them to be able to deliver work. So it kind of felt like a natural decision, really, which was something that is quite a privilege to have, rather than a kind of we have to make the decision to deliver something, but through the consultation with artists and particularly through consultation with our young people, it felt right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we can go into that a bit more later. But Neil, if I can bring you in, how have you had to adapt? And first of all, tell us about your involvement in the festival.
Well, Townsend Theatre Productions are a national touring theatre company. We tour to small middle scale venues up and down the country. Obviously, with COVID, it created issues. So we couldn't tour, we couldn't do what we do. So we had to find alternatives. We had to think outside the box. And one of the solutions that we felt was appropriate. An appropriate approach was to create our own venue. Create a venue that could then an adaptable space that could then tour and attract audiences in. So it's an outdoor venue. It's an outdoor venue made up of a horse box and a large tent. The horse box is the front of house. It's the box office refreshments, and then the tent, which is a bright red and yellow small big top, I suppose you could call it, houses the theatre, which is it's got everything there: stage lighting, sound, and so forth, and seating, of course. And it's it's outdoors. It can be enclosed, but it's outdoors, so you can leave the sides out. So effectively, it's an outdoor venue, which is ideal. And with social distancing, we found that we can get around about 30 people sitting comfortably and safely in that space. So it was our reaction to the COVID crisis, really, and how could we continue to create work for the venue, but also encourage other community groups, other professionals into the space as well. So we've set up one or two partnerships with organisations across the country to present work outdoors in the Talking Horse venue, and one of these partnerships is with D&G Arts Festival. So that's how it's come about.
It's interesting because I think it goes to what you were saying, Melanie, about including the whole region, which is something when I was looking through the programme that really struck me. Neil, you're going to be taking Talking Horse to Annan, Stranraer, Dumfries itself, and then Castle Douglas, is that right? So you're really, kind of moving across the region. And Melanie, how important was it to have at the festival reach all parts, if you like, of Dumfries and Galloway?
Extremely important. It is a vital thing for us and our ongoing future as a festival. We've always brought work to the region through our Arts Live programming, which is our rural programme, which is year round outside of the festival, as well as during the Arts Festival. We'd always aim to try and take work to all 4 sections of the region. But really this year it felt more important than ever to try and get work to be closer to home, closer to people's neighbourhoods, in spaces that they felt safe to go to, spaces that they knew, but also not only through the Talking Horse, there's also the pop-up performances that we have happening in public spaces and places, so people can recognise that we're still here to engage in arts and culture, and that, things are on your doorstep. Yeah,
absolutely. I mean, if anyone from the area or even visiting, there's something for you, I think, across the board. If people come to the Talking Horse, Neil, what kind of thing, without giving away any spoilers, are they going to expect to see?
Oh, well, we haven't been part of the programming, but I can tell you about the show that I'm doing. I'm at Dumfries and Castle Douglas. I'm doing a one-man version of Ragged Trousered Philanthropists, the obviously the classic book, and an adaptation of that. It's an hour-long version with me performing, telling the story and performing all the characters. So that's 2 of the 4 touring places we're going to. Other than that, I think there's a fair bit of music. I think I'm right in saying, Mel, there's quite a lot of local musicians and singers and so forth. But Mel can fill in the detail on that. If that's
we're delighted to be working in partnership with Townsend Theatre and the Talking Horse to deliver it, but really we've kind of driven forward some of the programming, which does include obviously music acts, including from young artists and performers who we'd regularly engage with, including Kate Kyle, Katrina McGee, and Liam Russell. but we also, along with many others, but we also have some other theatre performances from local artists and acts, which include Lot 52, as well as a dance piece. And we also have a magician called Brandon Barrett, who's a young artist who is just absolutely brilliant. So we do really have a real mix of art forms there, and you can come along and you can either see one or you can hang around and maybe see a couple. But really it's that variety that we wanted to ensure that we had an outdoor space, because that's usually what we'd have throughout our programming. And it's great that we'll be able to use that variety within the Talking Horse venue. So it kind of encapsulates the festival in that sense.
First thing I want to say is I'd love to see how you squeeze the Ragged Philanthropist into an hour. That's impressive. But also, when I was reading the programme, Melanie, that's what struck me was the diversity. You know, you've got dance, you've got comedy, you've got theatre, you've got music. And I mean, I know because I try and cover music with Scots Way Hey, but the amount of fantastic musicians that are in Dumfries and Galloway region, and I think people don't maybe realise it. And it made me think, do you think in general it's a region in terms of the arts that's often overlooked? Or do you think that's not the case?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still sort of, it's really exciting for me because I know a little bit about the region and a little bit about the artists, but I'm really starting to really get my head around it all, which is exciting. And I think particularly what I've noticed from being in this role is that there's some really exciting world-class artists that are within this region, and there is that often tendency for them to be overlooked because they come from a rural area rather than the central belt. So that's what was really exciting for us in terms of the digital element of what we're doing, because it is really putting a pinpoint and look at these world-class artists coming from this region, and you know, they are regularly touring or they're going to, you know, America, Europe, etc. But there's not that gravitas there really, which is kind of surprising. So it's a great opportunity for us to be able to put that pinpoint in this year to really sort of bolster that reputation for our region.
And I wonder if you think that, this is to both of you, that you think that actually, if there have been positives of the last year, it's that people have made connections that they maybe previously haven't. Maybe you've been able to find, again, for me, it was mainly with music, but also with writers, that because people have been forced online to either give readings or to give performances or things like that, they've actually found a different audience. And perhaps with a festival like the one you're putting on, they can then come out again with bringing this new audience with them, bringing these new fans or these new people who are interested in the arts with them.
Definitely. I think what's great about digital, and particularly what I found with working on other digital works, is there's a whole other level to engaging with work in terms of being able to watch our live gigs or being able to sort of watch stuff at your leisure, almost as an iPlayer sort of catch up, means that people we're connecting with people on a different level in terms of accessibility, in terms of region wide. But we're also getting a lot of people who would say, I was interested in going, but I wouldn't want to go on my own, or I don't quite feel comfortable. I'm not quite sure it's for me. Yeah. Which is why our entire digital program this year is pay what you can. So you can decide what you want to pay to try some stuff out and to look at things and to see stuff. And, you know, if it's not for you, it's not for you, but at least you're looking at stuff. But I really do feel passionately and actually really advocate that there is something for everyone within our digital program, as well as our outdoor stuff. So it is exciting for us for all those different dynamics to consider.
Sorry, Neil, on you go.
I was going to say, I do think we need to. I think there's. I think it's time now to get back into the theatre to see live stuff, because I think it can be frustrating because it's not the same experience when you see things on screen. But I mean, it has been good for opening doors for kind of establishing new links and so forth. But I think many people are really hankering after that live experience, that live interaction. They want to see people again in 3D, I think, more than anything else. Get that element of entertainment back and group feel like you've got a group of people around you enjoying something,
Oh, absolutely. And I completely agree with that. And I think, and we can maybe talk about this a bit later, that theatre has probably been hit as hard as anyone in terms of, the COVID situation. But I do think you will find that maybe someone who originally is from Dumfries or Galloway or whatever, and is in Australia, suddenly can, take part. And it's that idea of taking part, I think, which is there's been a shift that you can then do this in a different way. And I think that's what you're offering. It's probably a good time, Melanie, to talk about how people can watch and get involved, or, turn up or whatever, because there are different ways of doing it.
Yeah, so for our online program, what you can do is visit our website. You'll be able to scroll through our program, and whatever you'd like to go and see, you click book now, and that will take you to our hosting platform, which is MyPlayer. And you book your ticket, and we have a range of different tickets, which are, we actually have a free festival pass. So we have up to 12 small micro commissioned works, which are available to watch for free. It also includes a BBC production made by the Battersea Arts Centre and the Beatbox Collective of Frankenstein, which is a really exciting film, and that's on as part of our free festival. We also have a digital festival pass, which you can pay what you can for, a minimum of £10, which you can gain access to the entire digital programme. But you can also access different events, anyone that you'd like, depending on what you'd like to see, for pay what you can in total. So you can try some different stuff out. Also, for the Talking Horse, we have tickets that you can buy online through our website as well, for individual events, Talking Horse, and you can either buy tickets there or on the day at the box office. And all of our tickets are £5, but if you're 2 adults, it's a slight discount of £8 to come and see the work. Yeah.
That sounds.
Oh, in addition, sorry, yes. I forgot to say, in addition, we have accessibility. In terms of access, we have a BSL request system. So if you're deaf or hard of hearing and you'd like to come to one of our come and see one of our pieces at the Talking Horse, then you just get in touch with us. We do have a hearing loop, which you can tune into. In addition, all of the works online are subtitled. Also some of the live performances are BSL interpreted, but all the information in terms of access is on our website.
And I think that goes back to the previous point, is that there's an accessibility which perhaps wasn't there previously, that, people, a wider range of people can take part, which I think is fantastic. But going back to theatre, Neil, it must have been a terrible year the last year, and the idea that you've not been able to get out. I would imagine it's not just exciting, but quite emotional to be back out there and taking the stage again.
Yeah, it's great. It's very exciting. I've already done a handful of ragged trousered philanthropists across the north of England recently with the rural touring circuit there. So it was great to be back. Great to see the whites of an audience's eyes again. But we've also just been to down south and produced a new piece of work called Farewell Leicester Square, about Britain's first black bus driver. We did that at a festival in Watford and Bedford, and so it was really exciting to get the venue up and out there and attracting audiences back to live theatre, which is really good. It has been a tricky year on lots of levels, but everybody's had to kind of be adaptable. They've had to rethink how they create work, how they produce, how they present work. And I think it's probably, to be honest, it's probably hit the bigger organisations harder, the bigger theatres where they've got large buildings, large numbers of staff, and having to cope with all those immediate issues before they can even get on to the thought of what can we do to keep work going. But everybody's trying. Everybody's setting up outdoor theatres, from Pitlochry down down to York, and you know, so it's people are working really hard to give that audience the live buzz, you know. So yeah.
And I mean, I guess after having to Melanie, after having to cancel, you know, last year's festival, similarly, it must be just hugely exciting to be able to work with the artists again. I think, you know, it's, if the last year's taught us anything, it's that the arts need the audience and the audience need the arts. That's absolutely vital.
Definitely, definitely, for all of those things. But also to sort of go back to what Neil was saying, it sort of feels really exciting that we can still deliver something in amongst this pandemic, and that we're, you know, obviously, like every arts organization, we're really trying our best to try and ensure that we can deliver everything. It's manageable, it's safe for audiences, safe for artists. But there is that still feeling of, with the Talking Horse and with the Theatre Royal shows, we're getting that taste of what it was before. And there's that feeling of, oh, you know, we're just desperate to get back into theatres. But it is exciting that this year it's kind of almost like ripping up the rule book of what we usually do and sort of really experimenting and trialing. So I think it sort of balances out really in terms of the excitement is, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I went to my first exhibition last week before, in Dunoon, and it was like a big day out. It was that idea of going somewhere to be in a space, and you know, there was no performance aspect of it, but even so, wandering around, seeing people's artwork, listening to their music, seeing their film and all that, it was just like, yeah, this is why, you know, what we do and why we love it and all of these things. And it was so exciting because I think yours was the first festival that I like, on the scale that it is, that I read through and went, oh God, there's just so much here that, you know, that you would want to go and see. Perhaps this is an unfair question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you have highlights, both of you perhaps, that you're looking forward to? If you can't answer that, Melanie, in particular, I will understand. But you'd not like to say, Neil, you could probably say, if you have time off between your performances.
Well, I really look forward to the music. There's some really good musicians coming to the Talking Horse, and I'm very excited because I'm doing the sound, so I can sit there and watch it. And
Excellent. Wow.
So there's Kate Carl's coming. There's some Aaron Jones is coming. Fantastic musicians and very entertaining performers. I'm really looking forward to that in particular.
Yeah, I would say there's just some fantastic musicians lined up that we would be great to see, but so much else. And I think it's the kind of festival that, as you say, Melanie, it gives you the opportunity to take a punt on maybe something that you're not familiar with. It's something I like to do if I go to any festival. I always try and at least go to one thing that I don't know anything about, but I'm intrigued by the poster or the title or you know, what, or the setup even, Neil, like having the outdoor venue that moves around is something that really fascinates me. So yeah, that's something that I think is really exciting.
Yeah, well, it creates a buzz, I think. Just seeing this huge tent in the middle of Castle Douglas or Annan or the various Bustranra and Dumfries in the park in Dumfries, just seeing it is enough to become, wow, this is intriguing. There is something happening here. Yeah. So I think it's like a magnet. I think people will come to it. I'm sure they will be intrigued.
Absolutely. With that in mind, Melanie, what's the kind of reaction you've had from the people you've asked to be involved? Has it been real excitement across the board about kind of getting out there again?
Definitely. I think there's been a lot of factors at play here. There's been the fact that there's this excitement to get back out and to be able to perform, but there's also that kind of feeling with some of the artists of, oh, I've not done this for a while, and it's getting in front of a crowd again, and it's sort of dusting off the cobwebs. And I think what we've really managed to do this year, which we're incredibly proud of, is everything that we're doing is, you know, we say safe in terms of COVID and safe in terms of the artists, etc., but it's also a very welcoming atmosphere for our artists to try to get back out there, to be able to perform and gain their confidence again, to a welcoming, friendly audience, and, you know, in an outdoor space with our support from our team. but also through online, it's that level of being able to pre-record or do something online and kind of feel like there's a little bit of a, almost like a sort of gap there, so they kind of feel a little bit reserved. So it feels like a really nice natural way to integrate back into performing in a theatre and being able to do that. So there's a real mix. Some are really excited and some are going, I'm looking forward to it, but I can't wait to dust off the cobwebs because I'm not quite sure. But I think altogether, I think everyone's really, really excited just to get back out there after such a long, hard period of isolation.
And I think that's what the festival says to me, is that it's welcoming, it's inclusive, because that mix of being really excited to get back out, which you've both spoken about, but also for some people there will be still that nervousness, that apprehension or whatever. So it allows everyone, however they're feeling, to kind of start to dip their toe back into the world of arts festivals again, and that's really exciting to me, and clearly it's very exciting to both of you.
It is. Our experience so far of having the venue is that people are love it, because it gives them a huge amount of confidence to watch in safety. They can watch stuff in absolute safety. So that's what it's about, really. It's about building audiences' confidence to come back to see live things. Slowly and carefully we'll get them back in.
Fantastic. What a great way to finish. Well, Melanie and Neil, I found this a really uplifting chat, because it's absolutely what we've been waiting for, since everything had been locked down. So thank you very much for joining me.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. And all the best with the festival. And we will be back soon with someone completely different. Cheers.